Hey guys, Dave with Moneyology here. Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Today is July 26, 2020, and this is Moneyology Premium Preview. This is the Gold and Silver Review Part 1. We'll go through different ETFs from daily and weekly perspectives to give you a better sense of where we think the precious metals markets are and are likely headed. And for Part 2 of this video, we will dive into about 20 to 30 names in the sector to give you updated targets and stop losses and so on. And we'll go from there. But this particular video will be more general. And let's see what we've got. So starting with the Gdxj daily chart. And notice that right now we've got about 60 on the Gdxj is going to be your next resistance level. 59.16 is where we closed on the week. We're up 2.5%. And this 69.1 level is going to be that level of kind of resistance, and we'll see which way it decides to go. It remains to be seen. My hunch is that we're probably headed lower in the near term because I'm seeing some negative divergences on the shorter term time frames. But what does lower mean? And that's the most important part of this particular video. So we've been kind of going up and up and up and kind of in this trajectory. So if this trend line breaks to the downside, I think a back test of 50 is certainly possible. And one would not at all surprise me if we even back test 45 to possibly 41. Don't think those are going to happen. This is the highest probability. But at the same time, it can also break higher. So we got to be open to all possibilities. All I'm saying is there's a lot of giddiness right now, and you just got to be careful when that happens because these markets are prone to sharp pullbacks. On the GDXJ, that 42 level is the line in the sand, and if it can break back higher, break back higher, then I think we're headed towards that 45 to 46 level. If, however, we do pull back, then the first support level will be at that 40 level. I think ultimately we're probably going to retest that 37 level. But again, from a longer term perspective, all very, very bullish if we actually do that. Will it happen? Anybody's guess right now because the market, as giddy as it is, as euphoric as it is, continues to want to push higher. Look at the GLD. We called it last week. As soon as this level broke, this has done nothing but up 4 straight up days, and everything is being bought. However, it's still not at the same momentum levels as previous peaks. So to me, there's a slight negative divergence, and I could see a pullback all the way to this level relatively soon, and I can see one that goes even lower to really punish some of the newcomers to the trade, because that's what markets do. Now, will that happen? Anybody's guess, but any sign of weakness, I would highly recommend trimming your long positions if you've been in this trade for a long time. But Palladium, on the other hand, is starting to really do well and breaking higher, on its way to me towards the 240, possibly as high as 275 levels. So keep an eye on Palladium. These levels, the 50 or the 50 to the 200, never really crossed. They just kissed, and off went Palladium. So if my view on commodities and the general markets is right, then I think Palladium is going to be seeing much higher prices. Likewise, platinum continues to do well, and I think platinum's headed towards that 94 level on the PPLT, and ultimately going to break to 52 level highs. I like the fact that platinum, unlike the GLD, is creating higher highs on momentum right now. So platinum might be a relatively strong bet over the next 12 to 24 months. And we'll be covering some names in the platinum sector in the premium review. Silver Juniors, SILJ daily. Right now, the line in the sand is 1564. If that can break to the upside, we're probably going to see another run in the juniors. However, if that cannot break to the upside and it breaks below 1450, then this can possibly head towards that 1250 area, possibly as low as 1150 to the downside. But I expect to see something like this, and then eventually a break back to the upside. But right now, I just think that there's decreasing volume, right, day in and day out, and I think again it's just setting up for a pullback but no guarantee that that pullback ever arrives. Silver majors, that 46 level, 47 level is that line in the sand, well above the 69.1 level, which is great, precisely where you want to be. But again, volume's declining right now, and I think that it's just setting up itself for a little bit of a pullback. Silver daily, SLV, has done incredibly well, but there are a number of gaps that need to be filled. So again, when I say need, there are no guarantees, but if there's a pullback, I could see these gaps being filled to the downside, and a back test back towards that 18 to 1850 level would be very, very healthy for the market. All right, so let's dive into some weekly charts. The Gdxj weekly, and you see why that 50 level is very important. So I think any pullback likely takes place here, where we back test. And is it possible that we break lower? Yeah, but this is going to be a very strong support level. And right now, the weekly looks great, but there is some resistance here, so we'll see what happens at this point. GDX weekly has broken out above that 39 level, and it's been a heck of a ride for us guys. So hopefully many of you have participated. But notice here that we still are not above the previous highs in momentum, and in fact, that's the place where we broke down from last time around. So point is that right now it's going to be a sticky point. If it can now break higher, it can reverse. And I can see a pullback all the way potentially towards 31. Is that going to happen? Unlikely, but we have to be ready, because there are going to be some great opportunities. And if you trim some and some of your positions, some of your winners, and you're in cash on this pullback, that would be a great opportunity to really go after the names that have probably by that point pulled back 30-40%. The GLD weekly, look at that. We broke above the downtrend in RSI, which is a very good sign. And let's see what happens. I mean, right now, this is an incredibly bullish chart, and there's really nothing you can say to reject that thesis. Volume is strong, but on the other hand, if this breaks lower and creates a fake breakout, then you might see a little bit of rush for the exit. So keep that in mind. Palladium weekly, back tested 50 RSI. Kind of broke below it a couple times, but once that broke out, now we have the crossover, the bullish 13 to 26 crossover. I think Palladium's headed back towards those all-time highs and probably breaking to new highs thereafter. Look at that PPO back above zero for the first time in quite some time. Platinum weekly, beautiful breakout, and so platinum is kind of the under the radar metal, but that's a metal that I want to own for this next cycle in precious metals. Silver juniors, I mentioned that our long-term target is 1950, absolutely still is, but a pullback back towards 12.5 would not at all surprise us until we rebuild some of that energy. But again, right now, close the week above the 69.1 level, and right now everything is looking bullish. So it's bullish until it isn't, and we'll see how far this takes us. Silver weekly, we're very close to our longer term price target of 51. So again, can we hit that over the next week? Absolutely we can, but can we pull back and surprise a lot of people all the way back towards 37? Yes, we can. So don't just buy into all the giddiness and start buying here, because this is where the risk is high. The risk was low here, the risk is high here. So is there more upside? Absolutely. Do I think eventually we break above 51 and go much higher? Absolutely. But can this cycle take a couple of years? Absolutely can. So nothing happens overnight. Silver weekly, you see here this uptrend has been broken to the upside, and this is all incredibly bullish. However, sharp pullback would not at all surprise me. So we'll see what happens. Here's the GOAU. This is our favorite gold ETF, gold and silver ETF. If you're going to own an ETF, if you don't have any particular strong positions on a fundamental basis to own any names, this is a great way to play it. This ETF has done incredibly well, up from March from $9 all the way to $24, almost a 3x return on a diversified portfolio. I'll take that anytime. So if this continues to run, great. If it breaks below 2023, I would put that a short-term stop loss because it can potentially back test all the way towards 1850. We'll see what happens. Here are a couple ratio charts, Gdxj versus gold. Notice that the Gdxj, and this is one of the reasons why I'm turning short term over the next maybe couple weeks bearish, because we are this ratio chart is starting to break down a little bit. Momentum right now is lower. It did find support at the 61.8 level, but it's lower today, or at the same levels of momentum as when the ratio was much lower in price. So bottom line is that means that momentum is decelerating, and doesn't mean it's going to break down. But notice also PPO is slowly kind of curling towards zero. Here are the juniors versus the majors, and although it's been a great run over the last couple of months, again, possible weakness here as we broke below the 69.1 level to the downside. Now we're finding support at the 61.8, but if that breaks lower, then 50 RSI is kind of where we're looking for support in this ratio. And again, PPO kind of curling lower. Silver juniors against the metal. Again, even here, this broke down pretty sharply last week. It was still up 1.8% on the week, but it had 3 negative candles here. And so let's see what happens. PPO in this ratio is below zero. So again, caution flags is all I'm saying. Here's the SILJ daily. Again, starting to decelerate. Found support at the 50 RSI level, but if that breaks lower, then you're going to see some weakness in the miners. Here's the HUI, the Gold Bugs Index weekly chart, and this one broke out up 7.5% on the week. But if that breaks below 320 to the downside, then I think we're going to make a retest of the 288, 290 levels. So that's it. So for the premium subscribers, as we said, we'll be covering anywhere between 25 and 30 names. And stay tuned for that. Have a great weekend, and thank you for all your support. Take care.